Alrighty, everyone. Welcome back. Thanks so much for hanging out there. Like I said, for those of you that were here for some Link to the Past action, you just saw Couch23 and Silverfire do a multi-world randomizer co-op, and that was a lot of fun. And now for something completely different, we are going to have walkingeye here. He is going to be doing an any percent speed run of Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past on the NES. So I'm sure this is going to be wildly entertaining. And with that, I'm going to hand this on over to walkingeye. So go ahead and take it away.
Hey, thanks very much. All right, I bought this from a guy down the street in a back alley. He told me it was totally legit, and I believed him. So we're going to go ahead and kick this off. This is A Link to the Past for the NES. And all right, well, we got a Triforce. Everything looks good so far. Nice and real. All right, we're going to start this off. We're going to just go ahead and start it in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. All right, so right away you see here we are in our bed, and then there's the uncle. He's going out to run some errands or something. And yeah, now the music, you're gonna think, oh, the music's kind of funny right now. You'll hate it by the end. It's okay. I don't mind. The music is mostly old leftover music from another game that this company did. But which are Chinese folk songs, I believe. There's also like a symphony from I don't even remember the composer. Anyway, this is from a company called Weiqing. In the early 90s, it turns out that video game consoles were banned in China. And so an entrepreneur went to the Chinese government and said, look at this Famicom. This is a computer. This isn't a gaming console. And Chinese government said, sure, whatever, we don't care. And so you could get a Famicom, so you could get an NES, but you couldn't get anything else. And so they started making games because China has, some lax copyright laws in the 90s for other systems that they knew would be popular that you couldn't actually get for their appropriate systems. So there were a couple of good ones, not really good ones, but there was a Final Fantasy VII. There was that's a coin. That's what we need. There was a Pokemon Yellow that was pretty good, and a couple of other ones. But we like Zelda here, so we're going to do Link to the Past. You'll notice that the big difference so far is that Link is yellow. Other than that, things pretty much look identical to the Super Nintendo version. But you'll see if you get a quick eye and you're familiar with the old one, you'll notice a couple other differences too. So earlier I said, we get a coin. We're going to eventually need 500 of those coins for the flippers for Zora. And actually, we got really good coin luck today. So the coins are a little bit different, and this is kind of a theme with the game where it's actually two different engines that control this game, one for the overworld and one for the underworld. And in the overworld, when you pick up a coin, the coin's worth 10. And we need a total of 500 coins, so, getting 10 apiece is pretty slow. Thankfully, in the underworld, coins are worth, you guessed it, 257. So we only need 2 coins. Thankfully, we already got our 2 coins, so we're good for Zora. So we'll just escort Blue Zelda here. She is afraid of the sword, so every time I swing the sword, she disappears. But other than that, pretty normal escape sequence. We also are not allowed to pick up pots at this point. Right here, coming up on the sewers, everything is kind of abbreviated in this game. So we'll go right to the switch room. We have to hit both switches here before coming to the priest. Now, at the end of this conversation with the priest, where everybody's just kind of disappeared, we're actually going to do a glitch. We're going to press A an additional time at the priest. That's actually going to save us a solid 2-minute cutscene later on. We will not need to come back to the priest before fighting Aghanim. So that's escape sequence. We're out in the world now. Everything looks pretty normal. We're gonna head to Kakariko and go get we're gonna go start a couple of errands. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go talk to the blacksmith, and this is gonna start a fetch quest series to get the level 2 sword. One really interesting thing is if you're a fan of the previous run and the Link to the Past randomizer, they made the swords in that game, along with some other items, progressive, which means once you get the level 1 sword, the next sword you get, regardless which one you get, is going to be the level 2 sword, and then the level 3 sword, and so on. It's not just, you can't go from like fighter sword to gold sword to tempered sword, nothing like that. This game actually has the same system, where you're going to get the swords in progressive order. So we're gonna get our first progressive sword here, or at least start the quest for it. shortly by just kind of talking to a bunch of these NPCs in town. Here's the guy in the sick kid's house. He explodes. We're leaving. And then we got to go right back to the blacksmith one final time. Now, the NPC we talked to kind of in the southwest of this village, he wasn't actually part of the sword quest. He was part of a very long series of story triggers for this game. The story triggers are very tight and very required. So without that, without talking to him, we wouldn't actually be allowed to talk to Shahasala, and we wouldn't actually be allowed then to enter Eastern Palace. So we are going to respect these story triggers. Don't worry, there will be lots of glitches for later. So we've done basically everything we need to get the level 2 sword now. However, we are not going to get it. We're going to walk right by it, and we're going to stick with the level 1 sword. It's going to be a little bit too slow and out of our way to get it right now. We'll get it on the way to Desert after we beat Eastern Palace. You'll notice I can walk through enemies. That's fine. Don't worry about it. Whenever an enemy is moving, we can just walk right through them, and it's very normal. Now, in the overworld, you don't have any iframes. And so you see these birds here on this screen are the most dangerous enemies in the game because they have no movement restrictions. They can just walk over you and kill you very, very quickly. So we're going to be very careful of birds and other flying enemies in this game. So everything looks pretty normal. This is the light world. It looks like the light world. We're going to get to the dark world later. And we'll go see our buddy Shahasala. He's going to say, "You may now enter Eastern Palace." After some language there, and we're good. We're out of here. The enemies in this game, the sprites are the same. Somebody clearly took the sprite sheet, but other than that, they don't quite have the same AI. The AI for the enemies is more or less do something random for 2 seconds and then make a beeline at the player. But we are going to enter Eastern Palace now. And here we are. Everything looks the same. Everything looks normal. It's like a very intelligent child played Link to the Past once, was handed the sprite sheet, and then remade the game from memory, which is still very impressive, but also it's really frustrating sometimes. So we get the Stalfos room. Look, everything looks very normal. So we already have our coins. We actually got coins really early, so we don't even need to waste any time doing pots. Now, in this next room, we can't get the big chest quite yet. We have to bait over these enemies so we don't get stuck on both of them. If you get stuck on 2 enemies at the same time, it gets really hard to get out of them. And our sword is just a level 1 sword, so we can't really kill anything quickly. If your eye is sharp, you'll notice pretty quick that the doors don't always line up from when you go into the next room. That's fine. That's normal. Don't worry about it. And we'll pick up the key. Key's in the normal spot. Now, we got to get the big key next. And if you remember from the vanilla game, the big key is there's like a big key skip that you do where you don't actually have to kill all the enemies in the room. And well, there's a similar thing here where, the game actually wants us to kill all of the enemies in the next room in order to get the big key. But in the DEMAKE here, all of the trigger items are actually just invisible. So we just go up to the chest and we just open it, and it's fine. It doesn't mind. And now we can go to the boss. Pick up the bow here. The bow is very important and very easy to forget. We don't actually use the bow until the very, very end of the run. And it's very, very sad when you've got a good run going and you get to Ganon, and then suddenly you're like, I forget to pick up the bow. All right, so here we are in Armos. Now, this is going to require some mashing from me, and I'm very bad at it, so if there are any donations, now's a good time. And if not, we'll talk about the Armos fight. Go ahead.
No, I actually do have a couple of donations here. We have a $50 anonymous donation who simply says, "Hi, Mitchell." And then we have another anonymous donation. And we got another anonymous donation here. This one's for $10. And it says... One night, Dearth appears and invades the lands. He sends his army of demons to ravage the land, capturing Princess Aurora, holding her captive in the climactic castle, where he would rule over the invading demons and steal the 8 medallions, which he now controls for evil purposes. Scattering the 8 medallions across 4 spheres and placing them in crypts. A young warrior named Jazeta then arrives at the sacred shrine, where he is given a charmed compass which has the force of the medallions, guiding him to them. He is told that he would inherit the wisdom of his ancestors and win the princess's love if victorious. Jazeta then ventures out to defeat Dirth and rescue Princess Aurora so that she can free Dirth's spell over the ancient ancestor spirits using the medallions to restore peace to Newtopia. And I think that's actually apt that I read that there, because that was clearly the inspiration for the story for this game.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. We have a $10 donation from Casual Geek Dave, who says, "My first time seeing a walking eye run. Great run and very informative. This is to runner's choice."
Oh, thank you very much. All right, so we have beat the boss, and now we will respectfully leave the dungeon. None of this teleporting out of the dungeon automatically nonsense. We will respectfully leave the dungeon. We're going to get everybody's favorite item right now, the boots. The boots are incredibly broken in this game, and I'm going to show you exactly why that is. So first thing to note is they work more or less the same. You hold down the button, and then you go. It's really hard to cancel your dash on the overworld. It's actually pretty easy to cancel on the overworld, but on the underworld it's really hard because it ends up being a frame perfect trick. You end up having to press a direction on the same frame that you are exactly lined up with a tile. But we're actually going to get a super speed glitch going here. We're going to go from a slow tile and we're going to dash into a dungeon, and we're going to save our game and reset the console. All right, so we've reset the console. Now, like I was saying earlier, there's two engines that kind of operate the game, one underworld, one overworld. So now we move at 8x speed, which is really, really good for a speed run. Now, this does have a couple of drawbacks. One, if we get touched on the stairs, the game will hard lock, and that's bad for everyone. Two, if we press left on the stairs again, our speed will actually double again, and you might think, oh, wow, that's pretty good. Unfortunately, at that point, we will move 16x speed, which will let us move 2 tiles at a time, which makes us skip right over loading zones. And that's real bad. You can't actually complete the game like that. So we're content with our 8x speed. There's going to be a couple of parts where we might lose this speed, and it's going to be pretty dangerous, so we'll save around those points. But now we're on our way to desert. Before getting the book required to enter desert, we're going to go talk to the librarian over here. He allows us to check out the book from the library. We also talk to what is normally the locksmith, the bottle guy in the desert. He actually is the last piece of our sword quest, so we actually have the level 2 sword now, which will be very nice for the rest of the game. And now we're just going to go ahead and get the book as per usual. But this game is a lot of fun. Not a lot of sound effects you might have noticed. The only sound effect is really when you use your sword in the overworld, and maybe when you save the game, and that's about it. Yeah, no, it goes 16x, and then if you actually hit left again on the stairs after you have 16x speed, it overflows to 0, and then your game is stuck forever. So don't do that. My movement is going to be a little bit clunky in some parts just because I'm moving so fast. It's really difficult to control. This game is not the most friendly to control game that's ever been made. And once we get back inside, we will be forced to travel at normal speed again. So I'll use the book right there. Now we're allowed to enter desert, and here we are. We have to go straight through the screen transition. If we move to the side at all there, then a text box appears, and we don't want that. You'll notice that the screen scrolling is much slower now that we're inside. That's because screen scrolling is tied to the speed of Link. And so I'm going to be trying to dash through transitions as much as possible. It will be faster regardless of how far I'm dashing, assuming I don't bonk. And so as soon as I get to the point where I don't want to dash anymore, I just start jamming on a direction. I'm literally mashing, the down button in that case to try to get that frame perfect dash cancel. So we've got our small key. We're going to go get our big key now, and then the gloves. Category set to retro. No, don't give me that. The game is Link to the Past. This is Link to the Past. Nobody minds there. So we got our big key. We're going to go get the gloves now, which is the normal item you get in this dungeon. Most dungeon items kind of have a theme. We're going to use them 0 to 1 times. And in this case, we'll use this, I think, twice, which fits with the 0 to 1 times thing. Everybody knows now. Think to yourself, when you leave desert, where are you on the map? Just kind of keep that in your mind, because again, this was made by, just picture a very intelligent child that played the game once, and here we are, and we're going to go into the side entrance here. Beautiful. There are these little differences that when I actually go back and play Link to the Past, it really screws me up. And I'll kind of point those out as we go. No, I was dashing the wrong way. Nice bonk into the wall. Nice dash cancel. Got an extra coin. Nope. So, we're right in the room before Landmo. We're going to hit all 4 buttons just like normal. And then into the Landmo fight. This is where the RNG of the game comes from, is just the boss fights. So while we're fighting another boss, I will throw it over to Vanny for more donations.
Well, I don't have any donations right now, but I do want to mention a couple of goals that we are getting very close, or at least have good progress with closing out, in case anybody would like to throw some money at it. We have, for Final Fantasy XIII Lightning Returns, the Fight Arrow Knight incentive has 141 out of $150 for that, so that one's close too. For the Newtopia run, to upgrade the run from any percent to any percent with no Fire Wand, that needs $150. It already has 110, so that one's pretty close too. For the Link's Awakening run, to have it be a 3-heart challenge, we have 117 out of the $200 there. For Final Fantasy VI to suplex the train, it needs $1 more. It's got 199 out of the 200 that it needs. Excuse me. Also, for Pokemon Let's Go to pet Eevee, this is a rolling incentive. The goal is going to double each time it is reached. That has 15 out of $50. So if you want to see that met so that Eevee gets pet, and I mean, hello, who doesn't? Then you definitely want to donate for that. Also, we met the incentive during the last run to have a pet added into the Stardew Valley co-op run. A couple more incentives have opened up as to whether or not we want that pet to be a cat or a dog, and we also need to name the pet as well. So there's a couple of bid wars associated with that too. So if you want to see, good pet content in that Stardew Valley run, then you may donate for those. So get those donations in. I'm happy to read them off. Keep me busy during this wild run that WalkingEye is doing for us here.
All right, so a couple of things just happened there. One, we get the flippers from Zora. Zora wanted 500 gold. He didn't actually want to collect 500 gold from us. He just wanted to make sure that we had it. And then he gave us the flippers. He didn't actually take any money from us. He just doesn't like poor people. And so we have the flippers now. The second thing that happened was I stopped in a waterfall cave and got the level 3 sword. So we're rocking the level 3 sword. There's only 4 sword upgrades, so we're actually pretty strong. We'll get the next one after this game. So other than that, we're on Death Mountain. We're going to get our 3rd pendant. And everything is actually going pretty smoothly on this run here. Again, got to be really careful on the stairs, not to get hit, not to press left. We got our mirror from that little guy. The mirror is a bit different. You can use it in the light world or the dark world, anywhere. Wow, look at that. It was so different in the light world and the dark world. And here we are in Tower of Hera. Now we're going to get this key. This key is very important because for every frame we hold down the A button on that key, we get another key in our inventory, which is great because we want lots of keys. The keys are Zelda 1 style where they are dungeon agnostic. So we have all of the small keys we need for the rest of the run. We're going to make our way through the basement, get the big key here, and we're going to go fight Moldorm. Now, Moldorm is a very tricky boss. If you play this game on emulator, then it's fine. The boss is just kind of a normal boss. You hit the tail with the sword or whatever other weapon you have, and it's fine. If you have an actual official cart, and I do for some godforsaken reason, damaging Moldorm with any weapon will hard crash your game. It just immediately locks up and you're no longer able to do anything. The only way to damage Moldorm with an actual cart is with dash attacks. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to constantly dash at Moldorm and continually fall off the edge, taking damage and hopefully not kill ourselves. So we're going to save right before Moldorm just in case. I do like that we can save at any time. Oh, yeah, let's try to get these dash cancels going. Now, you'll notice I'm going to stay kind of at the bottom of the map the whole time, trying to cancel these dashes. At the bottom, I can sometimes get a double hit. So rather than trying to chase Moldorm around the arena, we'll just go here. Not very intelligent AI on this Moldorm, but he's still, you know, he puts up a fight. You also notice that the I'm not actually hitting the tail. I'm hitting the square below the tail, the tile below the tail. That's because that's where the hitbox actually is. It's not on the tail. So everything's normal. I am doing damage, despite the fact there being no sound effects, no feedback. He's not blinking, nothing. No, I am making progress here. If you're interested in playing this game yourself, first of all, don't. Second of all, turn your speakers off because this music is god awful. And around run 50, you're going to want to throw your speakers out the window. And 3, there's actually an English fan patch for this game, so you can at least read the text on an emulator. So we beat Moldorm. That's great. We're going to pick up the Moon Pearl on our way out. We have a decent amount of health. Health is going to start to become real important real soon here on our way out of respectfully leaving the dungeon once again. Yeah, when you go to speedrun, the number one thing you should watch for is just like, can you tolerate the music for like 100 hours in a row? And if the answer is no, maybe pick a different game. There could at least be sound effects. Oh, didn't want to screen scroll there, but again, it's very difficult to control this game sometimes, all the time. Coming up on my favorite enemy here, the Terrapins. I like it because their sprites rotate funny instead of anything else. It's like they're flying turtles. This is great. Look at them. They're adorable. All right, we're going to go pick up the Master Sword here. Now, there is a pedestal. We're actually going to save right here because this is a real dangerous part with some birds. Gotta go fast, gotta go fast, gotta go fast. Please don't kill me. All right, we got plenty of life, I think. All right, so there's a pedestal. We're actually going to go to the pedestal. This guy already pulled the sword from the pedestal. He doesn't want it, though. He is the true hero of Hyrule. But he lets us have the sword. So we got the Master Sword, level 4 sword, fully upgraded and ready to go. Now we get to go fight Aga. This is where that glitch came in at the very beginning, at the end of Escape, where when I talked to the priest at extra time, even though he didn't have any dialogue, I don't have to talk to him now, saving a solid 2 minutes. So we'll head over to the castle. And over to Aga. Aga Tower going to be a little bit abbreviated. Now, if you're playing something like, No Major Glitches or another, basically any category in Link to the Past where you have to fight Aga, he is the bane of everybody's run. Is the source of the most RNG. That's the same here. We're not going to be reflecting any blue balls or anything at him, but we will be at his mercy as far as RNG goes. And he's going to disappear early there. So we want him to stay on the screen for as long as possible. If he's on the bottom, that's BB. If he's throwing us a bottom ball, BB, then we can't hit him. So those are real bad. And if he disappears early, then we just take a damage from his shot, and there's nothing we can do about it. So we're just trying not to die. If we die, I save just before the boss, so we'll just fight him again. I think we're an hour ahead of the marathon, so won't be the end of the world. He should be just about it. There he is. All right, we're into the Dark World. We're on the pyramid. Everything's good. We have quite a bit of health left over, actually. So we'll be able to get to that free heal. Now, you'll notice that in the Dark World, everything looks exactly the same, except the color palette is slightly different. And to that I say, nobody likes a wise guy. So we'll go and take this. We'll head over to our first dungeon, which is in the Palace of Darkness area. One of the more dangerous parts of the run right here is this rock. We're going to save before picking up this rock. When you press A, sometimes you'll dash. And we don't want to dash because that would lose our super speed and that would kill the run. So we're going to save right before that to preserve our dash. All right, here we are in Thieves Town, as expected. Yeah, this is pretty much standard Thieves Town, except we have a small key already. We have enough small keys. We have all the small keys. I did practice for a little while holding down the A button on that small key for exactly 69 frames, but I couldn't get it anywhere consistently, so we didn't even attempt it. I probably have around 80 keys. So making our way through Thieves Town, everything looks pretty normal. Like they got the enemy sprites right. They got a lot of things in the right place, but everything is just a little clunky here in the Hellway. Oh, like I said, screen transition speed is tied to Link's speed, so on the slow tile, everything is bad. Dash. There it is. You have to hold down the A button for a certain number of frames in order to get Link to dash. It's kind of cumulative throughout the dungeon, so if you hold it down for a while and it doesn't dash, then it won't. We will rescue Blind here. We don't actually have to rescue Blind. Blind will spawn one way or another as the boss. But the advantage of rescuing her is you have a lot fewer frames. You have to hold down A to dash for some reason. So, see, real quick. Now, this is one of my favorite boss fights. When we actually get up here and we attack Blind, you'll notice Blind's being real friendly. Sometimes wanders away or otherwise disappears. If we pause and then unpause, Blind's position gets reset. That was a really good Blind fight. So we're just going to continually pause and unpause to reset Blind's position, which ends up being the fastest way of killing that boss by far. But we got really, that's the best Blind fight I've ever had, to be honest. And then we will respectfully leave the dungeon. I should be over a tile. Ooh, see that dash cancel? That was good. That's frame perfect right there. So we don't want to dash out of here. We just want to walk out of here to preserve our super speed, and that would be a split, but I'm not doing splits right now. It's fine. Again, really important, don't get hit on the stairs. Anywhere else is fine. Just avoid getting hit on the stairs. We're going to head over to Skull Woods now, which is Skull Woods. I'm not gonna fake you out every single time we go into a dungeon here. So that was our first crystal of 5, just like the normal game. Yeah. See, everything's normal. See, sometimes enemies don't let you go through them, and it's just very annoying. All right, how are we doing on donations? Any come in?
Yeah, I do have a donation here. Lily donates $5 and says, "Yo, let's suplex this train, Suplex City." Now, so this is cool because with that donation, we have met the incentive for Final Fantasy VI to have Sabin suplex the Phantom Train at the Phantom Train station. But what's really cool about that run is scheduled to take place on Wednesday, and we've already met that $200 donation incentive. So that generosity is, I mean, it's been fantastic so far today. We've gotten off to a great start, but let's keep it going. We still got plenty of time here in this run. So I want to read more of your fun donation comments. Like I said, we got plenty more incentives that we need to meet. So we'll get a list of those for you there in chat. And yeah, let's keep throwing some money at some fun stuff for this great marathon.
All right, we're gonna go over my favorite hole in the game. They forgot to program that hole, so you can walk on it. All right, we're going to go into the moth fight. Now, you'll notice earlier I did pick up... this fight is way easier with no conveyors or moving spikes. I did pick up the fire rod. We will not use the fire rod. We picked it up because otherwise I am not allowed to enter the cold stair fight. And we do want to beat Ice Palace later on, so it's important to pick up the fire rod. There we go. It's a dead bug. We got it. That was not a bad fight, actually. Bad fight there would look like Mothula going down, up and down a lot. So I can't just stand still and beat the crap out of it. But friendly fight from a friendly moth, and we are out of here. This is we gotta use the mirror here. What's our next split? I don't remember. We're gonna go to Mire. We're gonna go to Misery Mire. That's where we're going. Usually my splits double as my notes, and I don't have my splits up. So we might get lost. Strap in, everyone. All right, that's okay. So we will get a heal just before then, so don't worry too much about my health. Now, Misery Mire is not going to be Misery Mire. I know you Misery Mire fans are very disappointed in this, but We're gonna instead get a different dungeon. If anybody who hasn't seen this before has a guess and wants to get it in chat, let me know. So run right by Swamp Palace. We will go to Swamp Palace in a little while. There's that same guy. He's in the Dark World and the Light World. Quick heal there. Gonna need to tank a little bit of damage for this boss. I know this looks like desert, except it's blue, but it is Misery Mire. Here we are in Palace of Darkness. All you Palace of Darkness fans were very disappointed that Pod wasn't in the pod spot. It's okay. So we fall down here. We still need to get our big key. And we'll still need to get our hammer. Hammer is only going to be used to fight Helmasaur King. But we will need to fight him. I like the little mini Helmasaurs. I like their little legs when I'm screen transitioning. I think it's adorable. These jellies, though. I could do without these jellies. We do have the level 4 sword, so now we're going to start actually being able to attack enemies efficiently rather than waiting for them to get into a state where we can walk through them. It's going to be super useful in this really difficult pod dark maze coming up. Wow, this is much easier than vanilla. Although I don't get the hammer jump, so there's that. All right, we get the hammer. The hammer sprite is one of the. It's a very disappointing sprite because they did such a good job stealing the sprites from the other items that I'm very sad they didn't really steal the hammer sprite. Because you look at like the fire rod and it's like, wow, that actually looks really good. Or the hook shot. The hook shot looks great. Here's my favorite turtles again. They're just kind of upside down. I walked off the edge anyway. I don't think there's a puzzle in this room. We'll just dash right through the next couple of rooms here. And we are on our way. Go ahead. All right, so now this boss requires the hammer hit. And the boss is going to require 100 hammers. So I'm going to jam on the select button 100 times to beat the boss. Do we have anything else going on? Any messages? Anything? Any announcements? 100 times is a lot of times, man.
It is a lot of times, and I'll help fill that time with some things to talk about. Don't you worry, okay?
If you're looking for something, I think I got a donation going towards Runner's Choice. If I'm gonna have to pick a donation, I noticed on the schedule there's a Sega Saturn game a little later on. There's 2 of them actually. We're gonna put that towards the Legend of Oasis Boulder Race. That looks real fun. Wow, I wonder who's running that game. That looks great. We should get that. So that is the end of Palace of Darkness / Misery Mire. We beat that. We got the 3rd crystal. So we're well on our way to the 5 crystals that we need. I'm going to head over towards Swamp. Now, in between all of these dungeons, I've gotten a free heal. We will not be getting a free heal after Swamp. And Swamp is, in fact, Swamp. So we will have to be a little bit more careful with our health overall here. Oh, yeah, we get some Sega Saturn fans in the chat, not just crappy NES games. All right, now these switches here to control the water, these are very sensitive. The game does a lot of things where it checks every frame what's going on and then does an action based on that. So every frame you hold down the A button on these switches, and this goes for the crystal switches too, it will switch. Which means if you just sit there and you hold A for too long, or even if you just tap A too long, then the switch will just go right back to the position that you don't want it in. And you have to sit there like an idiot tapping the A button as lightly as possible. So I am pretty impressed at how faithful they were to the puzzle here in Western Swamp to get the big key. It didn't quite come out in the same way, but that's okay. We'll give them some credit here. So I'm gonna go get the hook shot and then fight Argus. Argus has felt pretty terrible, honestly, since the last Link to the Past came out. He heard some of you in chat there making fun of his weight. That wasn't really nice. So he's been making a considerable effort to slim down, drop those puffs, and I gotta say, he's looking pretty good here. His AI not that great, not that creative, but he's slimmed down. He's lost some of the puffs. He's looking good. He goes by Gus now, too. Shoutouts to Gus. And there he goes. He's dead. There's some text on the screen. I have no idea what it says. And we're going to leave. All right, so on to Ice Palace. Now you're probably thinking there's a magic meter that's been up in the top left corner, and you're waiting for me to use some magic and some of the magic items. No, we never use magic throughout the run, so you're going to be very disappointed. Too bad. We can swim very well thanks to our flippers. So swimming, a lot like walking, except we have a slightly different sprite. This is kind of a dangerous part because of that pickle guy. We're through. Everything's good. He can sometimes be at a different spot. You'll often see me carry pots to doorways. And there's a very specific reason for this. When you're at a doorway and you throw a pot, it actually doesn't do the animation for throwing. It instead just transitions you through the door. So save a little bit of time anytime you absolutely have to pick up a pot. This room a little bit easier without the conveyor. This room, unfortunately, no bomb jump available to us. We do still have to hit this button in the bottom left, though. Now, there is still a big puzzle with Ice Palace where you got to go around and hit switches and push the block down to there. We do have a little bit of leeway as far as we do have a way to skip a big portion of that, I should say. This is the room right here that screws me up more than anyone going back to Link to the Past because the button's in a different place. And it's just like slightly different. Really annoying. I don't know why they did that. I'm mad at them, though. That's the one thing I'm mad at them for. Just that. Not the horrible movement, not the horrible controls, not the buggy game. Just that. These spikes are very interesting. They do a little bit of damage to you, but when you hit them, you also lose all your magic for some reason. But like I said, we don't need magic, so we don't care. No, there goes our magic. Dash. There it goes. So just like the big key in Eastern Palace was invisible, this is also invisible. There's a switch here that you're supposed to hit with the block, but we can just hit the switch and it's fine. And we're into the Cold Stare fight. Now, Cold Stare can be friendly or unfriendly. He's going to stay there in his shell. We have the fire out, so we're allowed to fight him. Eventually, he will break out of his shell and he will bounce around the room. And if he stays in front of our sword, then he's good. And if he doesn't, which he didn't really do, and he's bad. So kind of a bad Cold Stare there, but that's okay. That's just RNG. Nope, no frame perfect cancel. And now we have to, once again, respectfully leave the dungeon. Is everybody having a good time in chat? Everything good? I'm coming through clear? This game is awful. Not like actual Link to the Past. Actual Link to the Past is great.
Yeah, I mean, this game really is bad.
All right, we're done there.
I mean, you weren't kidding. Yeah.
Pokemon Yellow is supposed to be really good as far as the bootlegs go from this company. Pokemon Yellow is supposed to be the good one. So
by what standards?
Look at this game and then judge for yourself.
All right then.
There is a problem if you're looking to play this game, you have to play it on either an official cart or on an emulator. You can't actually put this on a flash cart. And I know there's a lot of people out there that do have NES flash carts and enjoy them playing on original hardware. Unfortunately, this game is too large. It is 2 megabytes large, which is way too big for a flash cart to handle for some reason. It's just a software issue. And the other thing is it uses a weird mapper. And I won't go into explaining what a mapper is, but there are no flash carts that have implemented it. So, all right, here we are in Ganis Tower, which is Misery Mire. So all you Misery Mire fans that were very disappointed about Misery Mire, don't worry. All you Turtle Rock fans, sucks for you. We're not going to Turtle Rock ever. There is no Turtle Rock in this game. They kind of ran out of time. So we're going to go pick up the big key. We are not going to pick up the dungeon item because we just straight up don't need it. I don't know why I killed that guy. I didn't need to kill that guy. We will not need to hook push in order to get the big key. We will simply go and walk to it. Go ahead. You were going to say something. I kind of interrupted you.
Yeah. Now, did you remember to get the bow like you were talking about before?
Oh, I did get the bow. I pointed it out when I got the bow. Everything's good. We got all the bows we need. The bow's
All right,
funny.
cool.
There's only 20 arrows in the game, and you need like 50 to beat Ganon. So, um, that'll be exciting once we get there. All right, now the room that I'm about to walk into, we got to go west to the boss. But if we were to go south in this room, we go into a room called the Crash Room. Now, the Crash Room, speedrunners are really good at naming things, by the way. The Crash Room is a room where if you walk in there, there's a 50% chance your game crashes. But you save 15 seconds. So I never go through the Crash Room on an actual run because I would hate that. But we're going to go through the Crash Room here because we're like an hour ahead of schedule and I can save right before. So this is going to lose me at most a minute and save me some time otherwise. So quick little save. Welcome to the Crash Room. Here we go. We did it. We made it through the Crash Room, everyone. Woo-hoo. Saving some 15 seconds. This would legit be a gold split if I were doing my splits. I don't think it would be a PB, though. That was a pretty terrible ag. I had a really good ag at my PB. Hook shot right across. Love that hook shot animation. All right, we're out of there. Man, look at that. First try Crash Room. I did practice the Crash Room like twice before this run, like 20 minutes ago, but that's pretty good. I like how it shakes. That's my favorite part about the Crash Room. All right, so we're on to Ganon. We beat Ganon's tower. We got all 5 crystals. We get the bow. We got everything we need. Ganon is at the pyramid, just like usual. So coming up on the end of the run here. Unfortunately, we've already passed my PB. And like I said, if you're looking to run this game yourself, run it on an emulator. The leaderboards do accept emulator runs. There's not a lot of runs for this game exactly, but more runs are welcome. We will save right here. There's a chance Ganon just decides not to take damage. Thankfully, when we walk in this room, we are given 99 arrows and also 5 bottles. I guess they just assumed you got the bottles, but we didn't. And I don't even know how many times you have to hit Ganon. I just know you walk up to him and then you jam on the select button. And this run is actually going pretty well. Come on. And here we go. Time's going to be on the congratulations screen. Notice the congratulation was singular. And time. There we go. 41:37. Congratulations. I've done it. So I don't really know what we did. We weren't really the hero of Hyrule. The guy with the Master Sword was. And I guess Ganon's dead, so that's good. I don't know what happened to Ice Princess Zelda. She's probably fine. Yeah. So thanks for hanging out. I'm walkingeye. I hope you've enjoyed this run. Stay tuned for more Speedrun Ragnarok. This is a great event that Valkyries put on. This event and other really, really fun charity events, all for great causes. So definitely give them a follow. You can follow me too if you really want. Thank you very much, Vanny, for hanging out and reading some donations and giving some information during this run. What else we got? Did I miss anything?
No, I think we're good. Thank you so much, walkingeye, for that run of Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, the bootleg DEMAKE. Yeah, please be sure to give him a follow. That was very entertaining, and you did a great job of explaining everything. But you had mentioned things that are coming up, and I think I'll go ahead and talk about that right now. What we're going to have next is going to be a run of Grapple Force Reina, the any percent category. That's going to be done by Don Quiconga. After that, It's Casa is going to run Super James Pond, any percent. Alexis Mousy will follow that with an any percent PS4 beginner run of Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. And then after that, we'll have an any percent run of Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13 done by Lil Sharky. Then Drumboardist is going to run Dragon Ball Z Super Saiya Densetsu. And then after that, we're going to have the RPG Valkyrie's own Keishira partnering up with Yagamoth to do a co-op community center percent run of Stardew Valley. So be sure to check all those out. One more that follows that up. And if you watched GDQ Express this year, you saw these two folks doing this very run here. It was Meg Mac Attack on the controller and Must Be Tuesday music on the keyboard. And they were speedrunning Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, but doing a musical showcase as well, where Meg was playing and Must Be Tuesday was playing all of the music for the game on the keyboard. It was a very cool display, and they're going to bring that to you here again for Ragnarok. That run is going to be happening around 4:30 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. So, but there's still plenty of action between now and then, and plenty more after that you're going to want to check out. So, anything else you want to say before we pass it on over, walkingeye, on your run?
Gom over.
Gom over.
I don't know what to say. Anyway, thanks very much for having me. It was an honor. Catch my run later in the week, Legend of Oasis on the Saturn. It's 11 a.m. or whatever time it's going to be on Friday. So hang out with me for that.
Will do. All right, folks, stick around. We are going to take a quick break here. We're going to get the next runner ready for a run of Grapple Force Reyna any percent. I'm also going to be handing over hosting duties now that this run is completed. So this has been Vonnie Vaughn. I have had a lot of fun with all of you folks over the last few hours doing all kinds of silly donation readings. And if you didn't get an opportunity to do it now, don't worry, I will be hosting again on late on Thursday night. I've got a couple runs I'll be doing there for a few hours. So if you want to torture/entertain me with more of your donation comments, be sure to do so then. I look forward to it as long as we're raising money for a great cause. So we're going to go ahead and start getting set up for the next game. Please don't go anywhere. It's been a lot of fun, and I will catch you all around soon. Until next time, take care, folks.